8 days until it happens. So it's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a good
I
experience
know
for
he's
him too.
excited.
Yeah, he's definitely excited about it. It'll be a good fight, I think. They have to wear the headgear and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Just because of legal stuff. But
Right. You're gonna have to
so
Snapchat it to me. Snapchat me the whole fight,
yeah, I
like
will.
you like you do the whenever UFC comes on pay-per-view. Just Snapchat the whole fight. Put it on your story. But I mean, like I said earlier, not a whole lot going on this week. We got college baseball. Well, Division I baseball starts up this coming weekend, this Friday.
Yeah,
Who's Auburn?
do you plan on heading over to the Joe on Friday?
Yeah, I'll be there. I will be there Friday, Saturday, and Sunday for that. I think they play Presbyterian.
Yeah,
Who does Auburn start out with?
I don't even know.
I
I
haven't
hadn't
seen it
looked at
either.
them. I know Auburn's expecting to have a decent little team this year. They got a good coach.
Yeah,
Butch Thompson's
he's
a good coach.
yeah. I know that the Auburn faithful really enjoyed him. Like whenever he got hired, I know that they were very excited. He's pretty much been successful everywhere he's been, and I thought he did a pretty good job since he's been there.
Yeah. Yeah,
Really,
what was surprising with Auburn last year is he came in. He's a pitching coach and did a good job. And Auburn couldn't pitch last year, but they could hit.
yeah,
They could score. They're kind of like their basketball team. They could score, but they couldn't play any defense. I mean, they didn't. They made errors. They didn't pitch well, and so if Auburn can get the pitching part down, I think they got some bats. Even though they lost some guys like Anthony Greer, and who was I think second round draft pick, but they've still got some guys that can swing it a little bit, and if they can get the pitching down, Auburn's got a chance to have a good baseball team this year.
yeah,
And
that would.
Alabama's going to be in year one of Greg Goff. Um, he did a really good job at Louisiana Tech, so it'll be interesting to see how he comes in and how different Alabama looks. The big thing with Alabama is they could pitch, they couldn't score runs,
Yeah,
and so it'll be interesting to see if their offense kind of picks it up this year. And if they do, Bama's got a chance to be pretty good.
yeah.
So
I think Bama's bats. I think they'll come around a little bit more. I don't know how much more, but I think their pitching's going to be pretty much the same.
yeah, they'll be good pitching.
They pretty much got the same. I don't think they might have lost one guy, maybe one pitcher. I don't even know exactly. I didn't really keep up with them a whole lot last year since we were so busy with our season. But Auburn gonna be very good. Bama gonna be very good. Troy is gonna be pretty good this
Yeah, I
year.
think Troy's gonna
Uh,
have a good team this year. They got some guys that can throw it pretty good, and
yeah,
from what
they're
I've heard talking to some of the guys and stuff, they're gonna be able to swing it pretty well too. So
yeah.
Troy's got a good shot at having a good team and possibly making a regional this year, which would be their first since 2013.
Yeah, I've been keeping up with their bats a little bit. I know they got several guys that can swing it. Especially last year, they had some guys, but I think they're bringing in some guys who can really swing. And you got some of the younger guys have really started to develop. And then their pitching staffs was kind of shaky at times last year, but I think they got pretty much most of their influential guys back this season. Have you kept up with any softball? I didn't
Yeah,
see anything. I saw
Auburn beat Oklahoma last week, which was a big win for them to start the season. And then Bama went and swept at Coastal Carolina, and actually Alexis Osorio threw a perfect game on Saturday
yes, I did see
against
that.
Coastal Carolina, and they beat them 6-0. And Bama's actually in the middle of playing South Alabama right now, their first home game. So we're early in the year when it comes to softball. I'm ready for it to kind of heat up. I enjoy watching softball. It's one of my favorite things to watch, and I enjoy watching college baseball. I'm ready for conference play to start, which will be mid-March. Pretty much right when the NCAA tournament gets going is when college baseball and college softball gets going. So
Yeah,
and then you got pitchers and catchers just reported yesterday for spring training for major leagues, and that's going to come quick. We're literally 2 weeks away from spring training ball starting. I think the
yeah,
first games are like March 1st. So
yeah.
we're
Pitchers.
we're 2 weeks from the day. We're going to have some spring training baseball games going on, and I'm looking forward to that. I like spring training. It's nothing like the season, of course, but It's fun to watch spring training. You get to see some guys that you don't get to see during the year that'll be playing AAA ball and AA ball. They get to come up and play with those guys for a while. And, we got to see Dansby Swanson last year for a little bit, during spring training before he was sent down to AA and then ended up making it up to the majors last year. And, that's going to be interesting to watch with the Braves. I think the Braves are going to be better this year in baseball. I think that they went and got they got R.A. Dickey and Bartolo Colon, who are two guys who are older, but I think that's part of what they need. We talked about it last year during the season. The Braves pitching staff was just young. The oldest guy they had that started a game for them was 26. And so when you got that, that's really, really young. It's a young pitching staff when you're in the MLB. And so they're going to have some veteran guys that'll make a difference. I'm not sure that Bartolo and R.A. Dickey will be around the whole season in the starting rotation. I think it's going to depend on how their season goes. But early in the year and here during spring training, it's going to be good to have that veteran leadership around for them. And if the Braves can pitch a little, if they can get some good pitching, I think that they've now gotten some bats in their line, especially with the trade with Brandon Phillips. Me and you hadn't even talked about that. I think that was a good get for the Braves to get Brandon Phillips. I understand he's getting older and not really in his prime anymore, but he's still a good hitter. And, consistent year in, year out. And maybe a change of scenery for him might be a good thing as well.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. Brandon Phillips, pretty decent bat, but I like his glove. I really like his glove. And I think,
very good defender.
I think having Brandon Phillips at second and Dansby Swanson at short, I think that's going to be pretty good middle infielders for the Braves this year. I think that's really going to help them out. The Braves are making moves. They obviously, they're tired of being, having the Atlanta curse on them, quote unquote. The Falcons kind of tried to do away with it, but the Braves, they haven't won a World Series since 95, 96, 95?
96. Yeah, 95.
Yeah, and they went on that, what was it? They won the division like 13
They won the division
years.
14 times in a row.
Yeah.
And only got one World Series.
Yeah, so they definitely got a chip on their shoulder, trying to get back to where they were, which I think they can. Their division's not the strongest division.
No, it's not loaded at all.
They do. They got the Mets. They got one team that they can that's going to be tough to compete with, but I think they can do it. And I think they're making the right moves.
Well, to me, the Nationals are going to be the team to beat in the NL East. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I'm not so sure how good the Mets are going to be this year. They lost. They had some guys that left them in free agency, and so we'll see if the Mets are going to be as good as they were when they made the World Series.
The Mets, the Mets issue is, last year they had some pitchers go. They had a lot of pitchers go down.
Yeah.
That
it was from overuse the year before.
Yeah.
Harvey and Syndergaard. It was from overuse the year before. They had not thrown that much, and it showed last year. It wore on them last year.
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff. Going back to the Brandon Phillips trade, though, who did the Reds get?
It's two prospects.
Oh, see, I was kind of surprised the Reds would make that trade. They must be
the Reds are rebuilding. They're doing what the Braves were doing. Now, see, what people didn't realize when everybody was getting mad about the Braves trading all these guys for prospects is that's what you do when you rebuild. And so now that you've gathered all these prospects in, now you start trading them off and getting guys like Brandon Phillips. And then if the Braves if they think they got a shot come, July when it's getting close to the trade deadline, they'll trade and get somebody. They got Matt Kemp last year, which to me was a good get. From what I've seen and read and everything, this is the most motivated Matt Kemp has been since the beginning of his career. He's returned home to Atlanta, and he wants to show everybody that he can play, and he's a good hitter. And he's going to really help the Braves lineup, I think, this year. But the Braves, they're doing it the right way. They went and got a bunch of pitching prospects and some younger prospects, and they traded for Dansby Swanson. He's going to work out. He's going to be a good shortstop, and they got rid of Shelby Miller, who ended up going to Arizona and not having a good year last year. And that ended up, being a good trade for the Braves. So they got all these prospects, and now you're seeing them trading. They just got Brandon Phillips. They traded some prospects and got Matt Kemp last year. And if they get, to where I think that the Braves are a good hitting catcher away from having a pretty good team. And if they get to July, close to the trade deadline, where they think they can make a run, you'll see them make some moves with those prospects that they got to get some guys that can help them this year.
Yeah, I'll tell you one thing about the Braves. I know the Rome Braves, which is what is that? Their single A team. The Rome Braves ended up winning their league or whatever this past year.
Yeah, and the AAA team won theirs.
Yeah, so I mean they definitely got some guys in the minor league system. I know that one of the guys I used to play with pitches for the Rome Braves. He was the first a first rounder for the Braves back in no, I don't think it was the Braves. Anyway, he was a first rounder. I think he was like the 7th overall pick back probably 2-3 years ago. Righty about 97, 98. Tuki Toussaint, he's really good. He's on the come up, and I know that they got a lot of good guys on their farm system. So, yeah, the Braves are definitely I don't think that they'll be good this year. I think that next year, maybe the year after, I think they just got to Braves fans just got to be patient. Let them get another year in.
Yeah, you got to be. They're going to be young. You know, you're going to have a few veteran guys with Matt Kemp and Brandon Phillips, but they're going to be young. Yeah, when you think to last year's team, the most veteran guy they had was Freddie Freeman, and he's 26 years old. You know, like fielders wise, I mean that was their most veteran guy was Freddie Freeman, and he's 26. So their Braves were really young last year, and you saw at the end of the year they got better. Now, they started playing really good at the end of the year. I kind of disagree with you. I think the Braves are going to be good this year. I think they're going to have a chance to make a run at the wild card and possibly get in the playoffs if everything goes right for them. You know, and of course they're going to hit some skids. They're going to have some losing streaks, but they're going to have some winning streaks too. And they're going to have more experience this year. They need Ender Inciarte to stay healthy in center field. You know, he didn't last year, which did hurt them in the lineup. But when he did come back, he ended up playing really, really well. And, earned the contract he just signed with the Braves. And so the Braves got some players. They've got some pitching. It'll be interesting to see what happens. I think that the Braves end up with a winning record this year. That's just my opinion, which would be a huge step. Even if they don't make the playoffs, it's a huge step from where they were last year. Yeah, where people were really questioning if they were even going to get to 70 wins.
Yeah, that is a pretty big step. I don't know how they're going to – obviously, I think that they're not going to be as good as, everybody thinks they're going to be. But I might change my opinion whenever spring training actually comes around, which, like you said, about less than, 2 weeks, 2-3 weeks away?
Yeah, we're about 2 weeks away from it. So.
Yeah, and about that time is going to be March Madness, probably one of my favorite times of the year.
That's definitely one of my favorite times of the year.
Aside from the fall, I like the fall whenever you got the World Series going on, you got a college football and NFL going on.
October is the best month. October is the best month of sports, in my opinion, because you got football, you got the end of baseball, NHL starting, NBA starting. I mean, all 4 of the main sports are going on at that time.
But March Madness is my second favorite time of the year.
Oh, easily, yeah. I would rather watch March Madness than I would bowl season in football.
Who are the first 4 in now? I haven't seen them.
I was actually about to look that up. Let me look that up real quick.
I know that when was it? It was
the bracket or the committee's first. Their top 16 came out Saturday, and kind of surprisingly, I guess, to me, was Florida. They had Florida as a 3 seed. And I think that was the biggest surprise to me was that Florida was sitting there as a 3 seed.
Yeah, that is kind of shocking. I guess they kind of put a lot of weight on them being ahead of Florida, since I think them being ahead of Kentucky. Because if the tournament ended, or if the SEC tournament started today, I believe, then Florida would be the 1 seed, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Alabama would be a 5 seed. Kentucky'd be the 2.
Which that really surprises me that Alabama would be a 5 seed after.
Well, they've won in conference.
It doesn't feel like it to me, man. I don't know. It just.
Well, the SEC in general is just not very good.
Yeah, SEC basketball is not the best conference, but obviously. But yeah, did you catch the West Virginia Kansas game?
Yeah,
I
that
guess it
was a
was
good
Monday
game.
night.
Yeah, that was a really good game.
West Virginia blew a, what was it, 20-point lead?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, blew a 20-point lead and lost it in overtime. And really, they kind of had a chance to win it in overtime, even though they were down by